you're trying to persuade a voter, you want to know and understand like where are they coming from, what's the issue that's most important to them, and then figure out how to get them to connect that to why the election that you're talking about is valuable. I think that that same general principle is the same for younger and older voters. I think what issues somebody cares about can differ, but I think that sometimes we mistake that for being like young voters don't care as much about the economy, when the reality is young voters do care about the economy, but they might care about it in a different way, right? So it might not be about, oh, I have this loan on my house that I need to pay off. Maybe it's about thinking about whether or not you're ever going to even be able to achieve home ownership in your life. Maybe instead of thinking about paying off the student loans that you have, it's about whether or not you can even think about going to college because you would have to take out student loans. It's about knowing, right? I actually think student loan is a great example of this, because what we saw was so many young people didn't feel that the last administration was supportive of student loan debt, not because they weren't supportive of student loan debt, but because the way that the actual loan forgiveness that went through happened was mostly going to people who had already been paying off their loans for a decade. And so, right, that's like, it's not to say that maybe student loans aren't an issue that both a young voter and an older voter would care about. But if you go to a young voter and you're like, oh, well, X number of dollars has been canceled in student loan debt, that young voter is very likely going to say, nobody I know has had their student loans canceled at their recent college grad, because nobody their age has had their student loans canceled. And so it's thinking about like, what is the experience of that person and how does that vary?